I get something in the evening.
We got it.
But,
That's where they're saying, lane filter.
What's the-
These
these things like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clock tells me the order. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. To the republic which stands, nation, God, indivisible.
Mayor Miller,
Here.
Councilmembers Robinson.
Here.
Pecolo. Here. Vogel.
Here.
Ludwig. Here.
We'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Udvig. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Vogel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next consent agenda. Do we have any discussion on the items in the consent agenda? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Robinson. Do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Crutchlow. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, meeting open to the public. Anybody that would like to speak?
Paul and Peggy Cook. But they're actually here to speak on, extension.
Okay,
So if we want-
so did you want to just address anything or mainly your issue that we're?
No, well, as I understand it, it's,
Yeah, I can, if I
Okay.
present it, then if you want to ask them questions, I can.
But this is a later item, right?
Correct.
Okay. We'll get back to you then. That's just for people that just want to address general things. So once we pull up your item, we'll get into all that. All right, so seeing nobody else, we will move on to, public hearing. Before we do that, we'll get an introduction to it with item A.
Mayor and council, before you tonight is the public hearing and the request for an interim ordinance prohibiting the operation of cannabis businesses and establishing a study period. This is in effect until January 1st. What this does is this levels the playing field until January 1st with new businesses that are looking to either locate or into St. Francis as we are working through the rules. On the next work session, we'll actually start to kind of pick apart some of these rules and look at what we want to put in place for the details. But until then, this would keep everybody informed that we are working through this. And by January 1st, we should have this done. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I will refer to legal as well.
Same thing, but I guess we're gonna open the public hearing first before we address it, or usually what we would do if we had to speak, but I don't think we did. I guess let's open the public hearing at 6:02. If anything you want to say about cannabis businesses, please.
no, I don't.
All right. We'll close the public hearing at 6:03. And council, Kevin, you got something?
Yeah, I do have a couple questions. Some of them I'll track a little bit. I noticed the sign was changed on that smoke shop coming, how did that come about, and we allowed to talk about that openly, or that's fine, something, not that big a deal, it's interesting that, it's something, no, it's just tobacco.
So Mayor and Council, that came about, so originally that building had come through the zoning process for their signage, which is standard. What we had found is after they had put up their signs, they were actually outside of what had been approved. So they adjusted it to fit within the size parameters. That was the work by Jody, who got that contractor out in a ladder on Friday night and swapped it, so.
Good, I saw that leaf disappears, but they, in the future, they could put that leaf back on in some fashion. To illustrate some of their products that within the legal limits, et cetera.
Correct, Mayor and Council, we can regulate the size of the signs, not necessarily the content.
Sure. And I know the leaf might be offensive to some, but it's just a sign, so. My other question is, we, down the road, I understand the state has 235 licenses or thereabouts that will be available. If the city or any city wants to get involved in this, and a side note, believe it or not, with our illustrious government, they'll allow previous people with conviction of drug, marijuana, arrest or whatever, to have priority to get a free cannabis license. I think that's just crazy. Nevertheless,
Well, they do have the experience.
what's that? But at any rate, if the city or any city wants to get involved in that, the 235 licenses, is that, do cities have other preferential treatment or treatment outside of that, or we're vying for the same? Or a city would vie for the same 235 potential licenses out there?
Mayor and Council, from my understanding, we would be applying for the same licenses. I don't know if that's what you've heard as well, Dave, but that it's all an equal playing field. To the point they even established that the city opens a municipal THC store, that we cannot be declared as our only store. We still have to allow one, even though we're only required to have one. So if the city was to choose to do one, we would still have to allow one private. So there are some very clear guidelines that come out on city regulation.
Is there a deadline as a city or any city that might want to apply? Is there a deadline for them to do so?
So Mayor and Council, as of right now, the applications that are out are pretty much for the cultivation, because what they've realized is they were going to open the retail next year and they don't have anybody planting. So, when those applications open, then we would have the ability to make that application, but it could be, from what I'm hearing now, could be at least March next year before some of this is actually on the floor to be open, so.
And so we have our eye on the ball anyway, as far as if that's something we want to do as a revenue stream, whether, and I'm not promoting it or condoning it or against it, I'm just saying, we sell alcohol, that's just the bottom, that's the back of life. And there's things we want to do in this city, and that would be an interesting revenue stream if it's legal. And we've done a fine job with our liquor store as far as management purpose and the product, and the public embraces it, so. I mean, adults are allowed to purchase it as long as, it's legal, so. I just want to clear those up since we're on the subject, I appreciate that.
So
That's all
Mayor and Council, so that is one of the questions I will have before you next Monday night, because we need to decide what we want to do with our current city hall facility as well. So that is on the topic for Monday night. Do we want to pursue some type of a municipal, and is the city hall, is that the location?
All right, thank you very much.
So you have to allow one other facility or vendor, whatever you want to call it. That's just for the high dosage stuff, correct? The low dosage stuff is pretty much Wild West.
Correct.
Anything?
I don't have any questions.
Just have one quick related question, that is it the same with the liquor store? So the city has the union, no other private liquor stores can come in,
That is correct.
so they got a little different twist to the cannabis.
All right, any other questions? So with that, we will entertain a motion to, approve the interim ordinance prohibiting operation of cannabis business within the city and establishing the study period. Second reading ordinance 334. We have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Vogel. Do we have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Second by Councilmember Robinson, and it is an ordinance, so we go.
Mayor Carr,
Aye.
Councilmember Epic. Aye. Vogel.
Aye.
Franco. Aye. Robinson.
Aye.
carries 5-0. New business, item A, code enforcement extension request.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have received a code enforcement extension request from representatives of the property owner of 2127 243rd Avenue Northwest. They were noticed for illegal outdoor storage, inoperable vehicles, and junk and refuse. They are requesting an extension to address the issues by January 10th, 2025. And then, attachment number 2 has the proposed cleanup schedule. So the property has been divided into 3 sections and each has a different deadline date. And the action to be considered is to move to approve the extension request for code compliance until January 10th, 2025, with an alternate date of May 1st, 2025 for weather-related delays. And that's the time.
If you'd like to step up and say anything? State your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. My name is Paul Cook, that's my wife, every half, Peggy Cook. We're the parents of the owner of the property, my son, Dan Cook. And there was a garage fire there, which we were finally taking care of that. We finally have torn the garage down, so we're making progress on it. It's a lot of stuff there that has accumulated over the years from my son and from a current renter. So we're getting there, but it's a lot to clean up.
Do we have any questions for the applicants?
Does this timeline that we've given you, does that seem like it's doable to you guys? Does that seem like?
It's feasible, I mean, especially, taking into account other permitting. January 10th would be tough unless we have a really warm winter. So, yeah.
I drove by the property earlier today and it looks like you have made significant improvements in that southern dumpster out there, this heat pole.
Yep.
And I can understand the undertaking, hopefully the individuals who helped create this burden for you are helping remove the burden from you.
Yes, they are, yeah.
And isn't it, in situations like this, I'm always concerned. I have empathy for the problem at hand, and again, these things weren't caused. I am always concerned too about the neighbors, everybody's trying to do their best to keep their place looking the way they want to look and
Yep.
making an effort. We've given extensions to individuals in the past and been taken advantage of, and it's been costly on both parties' parts in the past, so. But I appreciate you coming forward and, taking care of business, and I wish you luck, and this is reasonable.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have no further questions. Sounds like they've been working with staff, which is awesome. So with that, I'm entertaining a motion to approve the extension until January 10th, with an alternate date of May 1st, 2025. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilmember Crutchfield, do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Udvig. All in favor? Aye. And motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting open to the public, second. Nobody else here, nobody wants to talk. We'll move on. Reports, police department, third report.
Mayor Council, before you is the third quarter report for the police department. The third quarter is usually busy with community type events, and this year was really no different. We hosted and/or participated in a number of events over the course of the summer, including Home with the Cop, the Stay Safe at Home program, and of course, National Night Out in August. And it's always great to get out there and have positive interactions with the public, and these events are our best option and a great way to do that. So we look forward to it every year. Calls for service did increase from the second quarter in both reportable and non-reportable offenses. And just a reminder that reportable are now considered group A and B offenses, since we've got a NIBRS reporting, and these get reported to the FBI for its annual uniform crime report. And some examples of the group A and B offenses are those such as robbery, burglary, assault, drug offenses, and theft amongst others. And some of the part A and B offenses we observed an increase in during the third quarter included thefts, which also include shoplifting, trespassing complaints, both residential and commercial, and disorderly related offenses. Some non-reportable offenses which increased were medicals, welfare checks, vehicle accidents, and ordinance-related calls. And cases referred to our department investigator also saw a slight increase during the third quarter. Officers also conducted predatory offender compliance checks during the quarter to assure that our registered predatory offenders living within St. Francis are in full compliance with statutory and DCA requirements. And this is something we do at least twice a year. So traffic enforcement continues to be a priority. Officers are doing a good job at getting out there and being very visible. They're staying proactive with traffic enforcement, with officers stopping 979 vehicles during the quarter and issuing 198 citations. Also in the report is a page dedicated to Minnesota TZD, or Towards Zero Deaths. St. Francis officers dedicated a ton of time, and I want to say this is probably the most shifts we've had available from the TZD grant this year. So they were out there a lot working these various TZD initiatives right in St. Francis. And these initiatives included speed, DWI, move over law, and seatbelt enforcement. And just a reminder that all of those overtime hours, which is what they typically are, that these officers work, working these initiatives are fully reimbursable, reimbursed back to the city through the state TZD grant. Statewide fatalities are unfortunately going in the wrong direction. They're up in comparison to this time last year. And the numbers in the report are actually only through September 8th. The statewide fatality count is now close to 369, which is about a 12% increase over this time last year. And some of those main contributing factors continue to be speed, alcohol, unbelted occupants, and distracted driving. And also statewide, there have been over 21,000 DWIs to date, which is actually a little above last year at this time. Pages 5 to 7 show the upcoming events for the remainder of the year, along with some highlights of the events officers and staff participated in during the third quarter. And I'm just extremely proud of the work that our officers and staff do, both on the enforcement side and on the educational and outreach side. And we hope to enter 2025 with a full staff, which we're at currently. We hope to get there safe and healthy, and we look forward to see what the new year has to bring. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Question. Great report on your report. Thank you for all the work that you're doing in the department.
Yep.
School calls up to today, the school year in full swing. How are we doing there? Good, bad, or different?
I will have a full school call report at the annual report. I don't have a good count, but I can certainly get those numbers to you. If that's what you prefer, I can certainly see where we're at as compared to last year. I know it's been busy. I know we've been getting the call to the schools quite often. But as far as exact comparison to last year, I don't know that off the top of my head, but I can certainly get that.
Communication between you and the superintendent and or the faculty?
Yeah, the school administration and us, I think the communication honestly is probably getting better every year. We meet quite frequently, we discuss issues, we're both very open about that, so that's not an issue at all here.
At a glance, would you say that school calls more or less, or? I don't see it in the weekly report, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I would say one particular school was much higher this year, the school next door this year, so we're seeing some issues there, and that is one of the meetings we had with administration here recently to discuss that. So, but as far as the high school, middle school, elementary, I would say it's comparable, but the one particular I know.
Okay, that's great. Let's see, traffic stops, again, in the report, 900 some stops, but only 100 some citations.
Sure.
So a traffic stop doesn't always mean somebody's gonna get written up, there's education involved.
Unless you're a state trooper, but yeah, our officers are very discretionary, and they don't always issue citations for every violation they call something for. It is a lot of education involved with that. So.
I'm sure the public appreciates it, and we appreciate that as well, so. Also, your constant involvement in the community is admirable. You guys never cease to amaze. And you don't waver at all. There's no downtime for you guys. I saw Officer Hearns collecting prescription drugs here at the recycle day the other day. But just want a great report as usual. Keep up the good work, and we really appreciate you guys.
Thank you for the report.
I don't have any questions either. Another great report. Good to see our officers out there. We've had some big events, so they've been busy. Representing very well.
I don't have any questions, again, great report, great job throughout the whole year, always appreciate everything that department does. As well as all our staff, because they don't always get recognized or have flashy reports, with much community involvement, they're usually there at the community events, but just to recognize everybody, we appreciate it. And with that, council member reports. Sarah. Yeah.
I attended the JLIC joint law enforcement meeting with the chief last week, and it was informative as usual. It was a little shorter than some in the past, but the reports were generally positive, and it's neat to see as many cities. It should be done more, like one of the attendees said as well. The other counties or other counties should be doing this. It's the great line of communication, and see all the cities lined up doing their thing, and again, public officials, either mayor and or council members are in attendance as well, so I enjoy doing it, I appreciate being asked. I completed my Metronet cyber training, so that was a little cumbersome. I thought it was gonna be quick and easy, like, this will be no problem. But they're trying to keep us smart as far as not accepting opening up our city to cyber attacks and whatnot, so it was interesting. They're very crafty. I had one of the tests I had to do several times. I had to go back and do some looking, but other than that, I attended also the planning and zoning meeting last week. Some developments coming into town. The Jessica's doing a good job, and Beth as well, and there's some things happening, percolating again, whether it's sign of things to come, the economy's turning, I hope so, but some positivity anyway, that's all.
Thank you. That reminds me too, the Anoka County Fire Protection Council is next week, same day as our EDA meeting, so I was gonna let Dave know I may not be there. Depending on what time everything shakes out here, but he's not here, so. We do have an EDA meeting, on the 24th at 6 p.m. It'll be at the community center, next to City Hall, and the work session, the 28th. And, October 29th, Public Works second annual open house truck or treat event at 5 p.m. So that'll probably be awesome, like most of the events there are. I will not be making it, of course, because I have to work late that day, so I'm disappointed in that. But I did tell the grandbabies, and hopefully they show up and have fun. And then there's a park commissions meeting at 7, October 30th. So, other than that, I don't believe I have anything else to report. I didn't feel, well, I had the pleasure of doing the IN stuff. I didn't have as much fun as Kevin did, I don't think. Yeah, other than that, I guess I have nothing else to report. So with that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilmember Freckbo, do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Vogel, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries by vote, meeting adjourned at 6:21.